Now, we can start with like a demo performance first. Who would like to try their hand at being a puppet? All right.
I'm already mic'd.
You're already mic'd. Okay. You who are already mic'd, and you can come too. Yep. So you can put on this hat. And you'll sit here, hold this, and you will start off kind of off to the side. So once you get your things on, you put on your hat and then come stand over here. Yeah, you can put your...
This looks rad. This looks rad from where I am.
Yeah, you can stand up here and get mic'd.
There you go.
All right, mic'd.
Yeah. Who wants to be a driver? I saw your hands go up first. Come on up. And just sit down at one of the back tables. Grab your mobile device.
All right.
All right.
Oh no.
Okay, so you kind of stand off to the side. It'll tell you when to come forward. All right, so we're going to start.
I apologize for everything that's going to happen now.
Yeah.
I'm sure you don't.
So,
I'm sure you don't.
As a first demo performance, like, don't worry about it. It's
I'm looking
the
forward to this.
tutorial mode.
Awesome. It's all planned.
Uh-oh. Here.
Excuse me, are you Artemis Fiddler of Bacteria Stories?
1 second.
Maybe.
There you go. That should work.
Yep, that's me.
I am Zeph Boggs. I hope this isn't too awkward, but I follow you on Twitter. Zephomatic on there.
All right. It's hard to keep track of who's on Twitter. I mean, there's so many people on it, and you know.
I understand. I mean, someone as popular as you probably has a lot of followers, huh?
Popular. That's hilarious.
So is it okay if I sit here?
Sure. Have a seat. Is there something I should be saying?
Nice weather we're having today, isn't it?
I actually prefer it when it's overcast, especially on days when I'm spending most of my time indoors.
I was actually out enjoying the sun a bit. It seems like a waste of a perfectly good day to hole myself inside the convention center.
Convention center. Good for you. Good for you.
So are you having a good awesome con?
Better than I thought it'd be, actually. Of course, I don't think I was expecting all that much. Oh, wait. How about you? Have you seen anything at AwesomeCon that you feel is particularly awesome?
Well, the expo floor, I saw this giant hamster ball treadmill thing actually attached to a virtual reality headset. was some game where you get to play a hamster running around and knocking into people's feet and furniture and stuff. It looked really cool.
I take it you enjoyed running around and pretending to be a hamster then?
Oh, actually, I didn't actually get to play. The line was way too long. They actually had to put signs up like they do in Disneyland and such that tell you it's 2.5 hours to wait your turn. I didn't want to wait that long.
And that's why I truly can't stand Disneyland. Or expo floors at conventions for that matter.
I tried to head over to your table, but it was super packed. Have you been selling a lot of artwork?
Not a super huge amount. Actually, most of the traffic's been for the other artists at the table. Total douchebag. I guess it doesn't really help that I haven't made my comic into a book yet. That seems to be the thing that gets the most people buying stuff, and I don't have any t-shirts or other merch either.
You know, I've always thought it'd be a great idea if you made t-shirts of the bacteria kittens. I'd definitely wear one.
I'm actually not entirely sure how that particular strip got so popular. It was a one-off thing I drew one day when I was out of ideas.
Well, you know, kittens are always a sure thing for success where internet memes are concerned.
So what do you do besides go to conventions?
I make music, chiptunes mostly. I turn old computers into synths and turn their bleeps and bloops into, well, still bleeps and bloops, but on a danceable rhythm of sorts.
Neat. I don't listen to a lot of chiptunes, but the stuff I've heard is really fun.
What kind of music do you listen to?
Let's see. I like to hear the ambient chatter of strangers around me in public spaces.
Oh, so you're one of those people who listens to like John Cage's 4-33 on repeat.
That's a good one. Good one. So I'm still laughing at your joke, by the way.
Is Artemis your real name?
I really hope not. What do you mean by real name exactly? It's not the name I was born with, but I do consider it my real name.
Okay then. So you mentioned Twitter, that your new job is taking time away from bacteria stories, huh?
Yeah, the rent really isn't going to pay itself, and the donate button on the site isn't really as widely used as I'd like it to be.
Well, do you like your job?
It's a job. It's what it is. Oh. I mean, I never thought of graphic design as an advertising firm as my calling, but at least I get to make art. Sort of, kind of.
I like this coffee shop. It's got charming old-fashioned ambience.
Yeah, and it's relatively empty too. I figure everyone at AwesomeCon usually winds up at the espresso next door instead.
Right, an espresso. That explains it.
I can't stand espresso. I'll only go there if I'm desperate, like I'm in small town and the only options are espresso and that brown powdery stuff that comes in a can. Plus, they're single-handedly responsible for perpetuating the mispronunciation of the word espresso, which is doubly annoying. Got my character down to it.
Espresso isn't all that bad. I happen to like their pumpkin spice chai lattes.
Please. Can I hear some of your music?
Sure, hold on a sec.
Okay, this would be more fun with the musicians.
Okay.
Okay,
Do,
so now
do.
everyone's going to have to make...
Boop, beep.
All right. So everyone,
Play some of my music.
play some of your music. Yeah, do it.
Hold out your phone.
Here comes the band. I love it. It's great. It's like the chatter in the cafe.
And the espresso.
And the espresso.
Sometimes how I type is
Yeah.
so...
Rad. That's not what it says here.
So what do you think?
Huh. Nothing yet. Give me a moment. A really long blue square moment. 2 blue squares.
So
I think it's great, right?
Did you pick something yet? Oh, did it? Oh, huh. Oh, dear.
blue screen of blue.
Blue,
Awkward.
blue screen of awkward. That happens sometimes. All right. So, okay, audience, which one? Okay, hands up for say it's good.
Oh, come on.
Of course. Hands up for it's not your thing, but it's not bad. Hands up for tactfully say you don't like it. Hands up for honestly say you don't like it. Okay, I think
Tact.
tactfully
Tact
is our
wins.
answer. Sorry about that.
Yeah, that was interesting. It's interesting.
I get that all the time. I guess I'll get better with practice, huh? I feel like a total fanboy, but can I ask you some questions about bacteria stories?
Sure, knock yourself out.
I've always wondered, is bacteria stories based on your life at all?
Well, I'm not a single-celled organism, so I wouldn't say it's anything near a direct mapping, but as with all fiction, there are some resemblances. Anything you're curious about in particular?
I was actually thinking about strong religious undertones surrounding Gottfried the biochemist. Was there some kind of commentary you were trying to make there?
I didn't mean to make a huge statement with him, really, but I've always found it funny that in most accounts of the Judeo-Christian God sound like some whiny guy in his 20s who doesn't understand that you can't force people to love you. So I thought I'd play on that line.
Well, I thought it was neat how you turned it into a creation myth where Godfrey got lonely and created his pantheon on mold gods to entertain himself in an attempt to get over the manic pixie dream girl in the next lab over.
Thanks. I believe that creation myths should include both monotheism and polytheism. Sorry, I gotta go.
Well, it was nice to finally meet you. Maybe I'll see you again on the internet.
Yeah, sure. You got some pictures of that, right? Because I need to see what this looks like.
All right. So,
Cool.
thank you for...
Hard for you, Artemis.
Yeah.
You did such a good job.
Thank
You
you for
also
the demo.
nailed
I
it.
need to stop. Such a jerk, Artemis.
Barely had to act that.
Yeah. Okay, dope.
Thanks.
All right. So now our musicians are here.
That's my problem. I'm too thin-skinned. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, we could do a little bit of Q&A. Yeah. So, in case case you all are interested, I've been doing all the controls from my little director's console over here while the play is going on. Like, for example, I can go next line, and then things will appear on the screen and on people's mobile devices. So, so I have a bit of a bird's eye view of what's going on, and that's how things are working behind the scenes. Yep, I'm running a Node.js server to push different things on the different devices, and everything's connected through an ad hoc wireless network. So,
Wait, so you have, so you're puppet mastering the puppet masters, so to speak?
basically, so it's like a several tiered puppet system.
Okay.
Puppet pyramid.
Yeah, it's a pyramid scheme.
What's the largest
Trademark
audience
Samuel
you've
Abram.
ever with this?
Largest audience I've ever done this with.
How does the size of the audience affect?
Yeah, most of the audiences I've had have been kind of smaller than this one. So I think like one thing that really affects the size of the audience is whether people kind of walk in and out. Like when I ran this game at Indiecade, it was like in a tent outside, so people would like kind of like sit in for a little bit and then walk out, and then new people would come in because they were curious. And I found that for things to make sense, I had to keep explaining how the game worked over and over again, which is kind of cool, but a little bit different from if everybody is like in the same room and is here. And also, if there's fewer people in the audience, more people get to go more than once. So they get to experience more roles, but if there's a bigger audience, I don't know, it just feels like there's more participation. I haven't really had that many huge audiences before, so I wouldn't know. Like this is kind of like on the upper end of how big it gets. Yeah.
I was there at Indiecade when you did this, and the tent felt like some kind of like holy roller tent.
Mm-hmm.
And I came in, and there were like pews and stuff.
Oh,
And
yeah.
I had no idea what was going on.
Yeah.
And like I think Maddie Bryce was up there, and she was doing she was reading it, and then like we had the orchestra pit, and I think
Mhm.
like Isaac Shankler was like
Oh,
part of
yeah.
your orchestra pit.
Yep.
I didn't really know what was happening the first round, and I was like, wow, what is happening here? And then I thought the performers were the real performers, like they were like a part of your
Yeah. A part of my own acting troupe.
the puppet master thing was happening.
Hmm.
Really glad you explained it, but it was actually exciting.
Yeah.
You know?
Cool.
Trying to figure it out, like I had no idea.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. So how are you folks doing over there with the musics? Good? You ready?
And no.
We could definitely
No.
start, like if we already have
All right.
volunteers, we could always start wiring.
Okay.
people.
Anyone?
Yeah. Okay. How's this? Testing. Sounds good. I need to get this thing.
I have a question. How often do you like constantly, is this like ongoing, like come up with different dialogue options and stuff all the time? And just
Kind of. Like I wrote most of the dialogue kind of in one go, and then and then like and then I've added a few new things as I've thought of them. Yeah.
It's supposed to be blue like
It's
this.
supposed to be blue like this. Yeah.
Like my shirt.
We were seeing just the theme of what the choice was.
Yeah.
Not the dialogue itself.
Yeah.
First of all, are
The drivers see the same thing.
they see only the theme?
Uh-huh. Yeah.
And the other question is, have you ever tried to just provide just the theme to the puppets? To let them more improvise? Or this could actually go...
It could. I mean, like, it would require, like, a lot of rewriting, which, I mean, like, I don't have time to do myself, but the project is open source. So if you want to try that out, yeah, 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 yeah. But it's still like removing a lot of text. But I mean, like the tech exists for it. It's just that it would require rewriting. Yeah.
Giving drivers even more options, like say Mad Libs on some of the options, like letting them fill in a word or that kind of thing, so they have even more control.
Again, like kind of beyond the scope of my project, but at the same time, like I want there to like I am interested in ways that like in giving players like a lack of control to bring about certain feelings, or like too many options to choose from also to bring about certain feelings. And if you come to practice and see my talk on designing awkwardness, I'm going to talk about that a little bit. Okay, are we ready?
I'm ready.
Yeah, we're ready.
Okay.
Great.
I know.
Working? Yeah. Boy. Not again. Okay, let's try it.
Excuse me, are you Artemis Fiddler of Bacteria Stories?
Yeah, that's me.
Oh, I'm Zeph Boggs. I'm a huge fan of your webcomic. It's been on my newsfeed since 2011.
Uh-oh, is it not working?
Just keep refreshing it.
Don't refresh it.
Okay.
Don't refresh it.
All right.
Thanks. I'm super flattered.
So, is it okay if I sit here?
Yeah, sure.
I like this coffee shop. It's got a charmingly old-fashioned ambiance.
Yeah, and it's relatively empty too. I figure everyone at AwesomeCon usually winds up at the espresso next door instead.
Right, an espresso. That explains it.
I can't stand espresso. I'll only go out there if I'm desperate. Like I'm in a small town and the only options are espresso and the brown powdery stuff that comes in a can. Plus, they're single-handedly responsible for perpetuating the mispronunciation of the word espresso, which is doubly annoying.
I don't even like espresso drinks. I'd rather have tea instead.
You know what I really like about this coffee shop? They actually know how to make a good dark roast. I can't tell you how sick and tired I am of the hipster trend towards acidic sour coffee. Coffee is supposed to look and smell like rich garden soil on a rainy day. I don't care that so-called coffee snobs feel the need to claim otherwise.
Well, it sounds like you know what you like, and I think that makes you enough of a coffee snob. for anyone. I mean, in the best possible way, of course.
Thanks, I think.
So, are you having a good AwesomeCon?
I don't know. It's a con, I guess. Could be worse.
Oh yeah? How so?
Well, for starters, I finally found a coffee shop around here that isn't overrun by hordes of ninja zombie cosplayers, accompanied by really bad dubstep music. So that's something.
Yeah, it sure does get loud on that expo floor, doesn't it? Hard to hear yourself think.
So how about you? Have you seen anything at AwesomeCon that you feel is particularly awesome?
I saw this demo of a game controller shaped like a hand.
Really? Like a human hand? How would that work?
Well, basically, you wiggle the fingers around and they map to button presses. It was really, really creepy, actually. Like I was fiddling with a disembodied zombie hand or something, except also trying to play Space Encroachers with it.
Yikes, I can't imagine. Do you live near here, or did you have to travel a good ways away for AwesomeCon?
I live about a 6-hour drive away in West Denny. I try to make the trip over to Terminal City every AwesomeCon at least.
That's further away than me, for sure. I doubt I'd ever bother to go to AwesomeCon if I weren't local.
There isn't really much in the way of geek-oriented events where I am. This is pretty much as local as it gets for me. Well, unless you count the internet, which is everywhere.
Oh yes, the omnipresent internet. Can't live without it. Can't live without it.
The road trip over here was a lot of fun.
Oh yeah? What was fun about it?
Well, I drove over here with my friends Sparrow and Robin. They're a married couple, kind of older than me, and Sparrow runs a tabletop RPG that I'm a part of, so that's how we know each other.
Sparrow and Robin, huh? Do they both have bird names on purpose?
I don't think so. Well, I know Sparrow changed his name legally from something more conventional sounding, but I think that happened before he met Robin. And Robin, as far as I know, was always named Robin. But they call their house the Rookery and decorate their house with bird things, so I guess they just took that as a coincidence and ran with it. Anyway, so the road trip, we decided to have lunch in this restaurant and pub type place inside a super gaudy tourist trap hotel. It was called the Chateau Veruca. I don't know if you're familiar with it?
Nope, never been there.
Well, it's practically in the middle of nowhere, and it's famous for having these ridiculous theme rooms. There's a French Renaissance castle room, a 1930s gangster mafia room, a medieval monastery room, a Cold War era retro-futuristic spaceship room, an ancient Roman gladiator room, a Crimean War hospital room, and a Titanic room. Apparently, that last one was specifically built at an angle to simulate a sinking ship. So the restaurant and the pub, it couldn't decide whether it wanted to be a 1950s malt shop diner or a Old West saloon. So it was this weird mix of waitresses and poodle skirts and cowboy hats serving sarsaparilla milkshakes. But they also have this famous policy of being rude to customers on purpose. Like if you don't finish all the food on your plate, they make fun of you and force you to donate the cost of wasted food to starving kids in Africa.
How was the rest of your trip?
We played a lot of card games. I had them pretty stumped when we were playing Botticelli and picked MC Front-a-Lot. Of course, once it got late, we devolved into the anal game.
So, what do you do besides conventions?
I make music, chiptunes mostly. I turn old computers into synths and turn their bleeps and bloops into, well, still bleeps and bloops, but in a danceable rhythm of sorts.
I never got the nostalgic appeal of chiptunes. Maybe it's because I didn't grow up with a game console like all the other kids my age did.
Video games are really important to me growing up. Living in a virtual world meant I could be whoever I wanted to be without dealing with the harsh reality of, well, reality. What kinds of music do you listen to?
Well, I like jazz, mostly from the 1940s and earlier. back when it was music you could actually dance to and not just a bunch of dudes showing off on stage. So, is chiptune music what you do for a living then?
I wish. My actual job is filing at a doctor's office. Who knows? Maybe I'll be famous as you one of these days and my hobby can finally pay off.
Can I hear some of your music?
Well, I don't know. I'm working on some stuff, but it's not really ready to show people yet.
Do you ever perform your music live?
I have a couple of times at small events for friends. I'd like to do more of that sort of thing, though. These days, performing shows for a live audience is the only way for musicians to make much of a living. You can't get discovered on the radio or whatever anymore. That said, I know these people who are developing a video game, and I'm trying to convince them to let me do the soundtrack. They won't be able to pay me, but it might help me actually land paid gigs in the future.
I almost got hit by a car on my bike ride over here.
You rode on your bike here? Wow, I'd be scared to ride a bike in Terminal 3 traffic. Like, seriously.
Anyway, the guy in the car that almost hit me starts yelling at me for going too slow and being in the way or whatever. He's all like, "Land your ride, dumbass." And I wasn't doing anything wrong. So, of course, as he passes, I flip him the bird because he's being an asshole. And then, get this, he stops and then starts driving in reverse towards me. I'm totally freaked out, so I ride into a side street to avoid him, and then, what the hell, he follows me, starts calling me a fucking bitch. I was in so much shock that I just let him continue yelling at me until he finally decided to leave.
Wow, you said it. What an asshole.
You know, it really seems like drivers in the city are getting angrier and angrier, and now that bike commuting is becoming more popular means of transport. It's like they have it for us or something.
Well, we're also used to cars in cities and not so used to bicycles. Most people don't respond well to change.
Maybe, but in this case, change is necessary. Since the recession's happened, people just can't afford cars in here anymore. Plus, the environment is going down the toilet, and if we keep doing what we're doing, this earth won't even be habitable anymore.
You don't think I'm a bad person for driving a car, do you?
No, I never said that. I mean, people have their reasons for needing to drive. I don't judge individuals. I'm just worried about the big picture, that's all. It feels kind of weird that this city's become so friendly since AwesomeCon's been happening. You don't really see people wandering around being nice to each other on a regular day, that's for sure.
Well, since I only come here for AwesomeCon, it feels like this, it's like this all the time. How is it usually like?
People mostly keep to themselves, I guess. Especially in the winter months, when it's gray and raining all the time. Sometimes I feel like Terminal City suffers from collective seasonal affective disorder. And I mean, even if you do have friends in town, they seem to flake out a lot. Like, on my last birthday, I decided to throw a get-together party-like thing, and a bunch of were RSVP'd, but all but 2 of them flaked out at the last minute. And the ones who did show up were like 2 hours late.
Wow, that's too bad. I guess cities can be pretty alienating, huh?
Yeah. Feels like there are too many condos and not enough community. Plus, everything's expensive. So no one can really afford to go out a lot. To make it worse, there's barely any reason to go out. A real city would have more nightlife. Everything around here closes at 11 p.m.
Must be better than living out in the boonies, at least. I feel so isolated from everything. I don't even have enough friends I could invite to a party, except if it were to be held in Epic Fantasy Online.
I have to admit, sometimes I wonder about going off to live somewhere more secluded where I don't have to pay as much rent and can sit around and make art all day. It's a someday maybe thing, though. Right now I like being able to bike, commute everywhere, and have a grocery store within walking distance of my apartment. Yeah.
I think I'd just settle for living somewhere where I knew some more people close to my age who have the same geeky interests as me, so that I wouldn't have to travel so far to see friends. Well, I guess I'd better get going.
Okay. It was nice to meet you, Sev.
Thank you, everyone, and thank you, musicians.
Wow, that was great.
That was fun. All right, so now I'm going to make a few more options available that you haven't seen before. Yeah. Who wants to be a puppet? You and you. Come on up. And who wants to drive? I saw some hands over there. Oh yeah, the hat here. And you over there.
Testing,
Yeah.
testing.
Actually, one time it indicates somebody like ran off with one of the hats, and then one of the volunteers had to like run around and track them down.
Oh, I got this. Test. Hello. Cool.
All right. And you're all set, I think.
Ground control to Major Tom.
Hello, hello.
Yeah, the music was kind of loud. Yeah.
Okay. Can we have the levels of the mics up a little bit so they can be heard over the music?
Sure.
Excellent.
Yeah.
For the tech things, just don't touch the top bar at all.
Yeah.
Stay completely away from it.
Yep. I should make this an actual app someday, but right now it's just in a web browser. Thank you. All right, are we ready? No, I guess not. I'm going to grab some more water. Wait, are we ready? Are we ready? Yeah, okay, good. Oh, thanks. Thank you so much. You rock.
I can look like I can play the accordion. It's the button and the pushy and the wavy.
Noises come out of it.
Yeah. What do the musicians see? Do you want to turn your screen around and show people?
Boring cafe music. Oh. So then there was like somebody's theme and
You're doing really well there.
Yeah.
Awesome Con came on, but we don't know what that is.
Yeah, exactly. You just make it up.
Okay.
You sound
What are your
great.
guys'
This is
name?
like this is the most musical sounding band I've ever gotten for this show.
You actually you're from the musical theater writing program. So
Yeah. Oh, awesome. I love it. Okay. We're going to start.
Excuse me. Are you Artemis Filler of Bacteria Stories?
Yeah, that's me.
I'm Zeph. Zeph Boggs. I'm a huge fan of your webcomic. It's been on my newsfeed since 2011.
Thanks. I'm super flattered.
So, is it okay if I sit here?
Yeah, sure.
I like this coffee shop. It's got a charming, old-fashioned ambience.
Yeah, and it's relatively empty too. I figured everyone at AwesomeCon usually winds up at that espresso next door instead.
Right, an espresso. That explains it.
I can't stand espresso. I'll only go there if I'm desperate. Like, I'm in a small town and the only options are espresso, and that brown powdery stuff that comes in a can. Plus, they're single-handedly responsible for perpetuating the mispronunciation of the word espresso, which is doubly annoying.
I don't even like espresso drinks. I'd rather have a tea instead.
I have to pee.
Oh God, please don't make
Sorry about that. What were we talking about again?
Nice weather we're having today, isn't it?
I prefer when it's overcast, especially on days when I'm spending most of my time indoors.
Well, I get seasonal affective disorder in the winter, so actually being in a place where it's sunlight feels really refreshing for me.
Good for you.
So, you having a good Awesome Con?
Better than I thought I'd be, actually. Of course, I didn't think I was expecting all that much.
So, yesterday I cosplay as Roberta St. Albert from Sleuth Quest.
I've never played Sleuth Quest. Who's Roberta St. Albert?
Oh, she's the main villain. You spend the entire game searching for her, visiting every country in the world in the process. She's got long, flaming red hair and wears a little black dress and a fedora and fishnets. You've probably seen her before. She's pretty recognizable and iconic. See, here's the thing. It wasn't really cross-dressing. I've been dressing like that in private for years. And when I wear a wig and a dress and heels, it's the only time I really feel like me, if that makes sense. Anyway, yesterday was the first time they did it out in public, and it was amazing. No one recognized me, and a few people even said that my cosplay was super accurate. I even caught my friend staring at my legs, and he's straight as it gets. Of course, once I saw Sparrow, I had to get out of there before he could come up and get a closer look and realize it was me. So I booked it straight to my hotel room, washed off all my makeup, and changed back to my regular clothes before anyone could figure it out. Just so scared, you know. Take a step and openly be who I am. Like, when I was a kid, I got teased all the time for being small and kind of girly. So then express that part of myself and come across as invisible most of the time.
That's so awful. I'm so sorry that happened to you.
I think that's why I really got into video games. Whenever I could play as a girl in a game, I would. And no one would know. And if anyone found out I was really a guy, I say I like looking at women like every other dude does. In some ways it's true. I do like looking at women, but in an aspirational way, in addition to the plain aesthetic preference.
That's funny. I never played many games growing up, but my neighbors had Smash Fighters, and when I came over, I'd always pick the biggest hulking manly figure available. I don't know if it helped at all. I always lost at those games.
Actually, the smaller, lighter characters tend to give you bigger controls. The big ones deal more damage, but are really clumsy and slow. But anyway. Remember my high school, this really brave, openly gay guy in my graduating class? His name was Jeremy. He didn't care what anyone thought. I always wish I could be like him. I had a huge crush on him, but he was way too popular to know my existence, let alone look at me in that way.
Funny. I think I had one of those at my high school too, except his name was Cam. He was always the lead in the school play, and he never noticed me because I worked tech. I'll bet.
came outside to the parking lot to find someone who completely totaled his car and spray painted with every variation of the word fag in existence. No one saw him again after that. We don't know if he moved or just dropped out or finished high school in some other way.
Did you ever get in touch with Jeremy again?
I'd be lying if I didn't say I didn't try Googling him a few times, but considering his last name is Smith, he's pretty much impossible to find. Anyway, even if I could find him, he didn't even know who I was, so I doubt anything would come of it.
So, does that mean you identify as female? Should I use different pronouns for you?
I don't know yet. I'm still trying to figure that out. Male pronouns are okay for now, but you know, that might change. I might want to be neither. It's a lot to think about, and I don't think I'm ready for all that just yet.
Look, a friend of mine got harassed by this guy on the show floor earlier this weekend. I've kind of been on my guard ever since. Well, more on my guard than usual. He literally came up to her and asked if she was married. When she said no, he was like, "Do you want to come up to my room for coffee?" With the most unsubtle wink conveying what he meant by coffee was actually sex. In retrospect, we both found it kind of funny, but still. The thing that really weirded me out, though, was if I wasn't even there. He pretty much looked right through me as if I was invisible.
Wouldn't that be a relief? I mean, at least we weren't getting harassed, right?
I mean, sure, yeah, being harassed is really shitty, and I feel awful for my friend. But, like, why not me? Was I not good enough for him? Did I fail to meet some kind of standard of female attractiveness or something? I don't understand.
Yeah. I know the feeling, kind of. I wouldn't want to be harassed either, but it would be nice if people thought I was worth looking at, too.
You know, the more I think about it, the whole fan convention environment really is a toxic environment for women. I mean, there are barely any real women there. All I see are scantily clad booth babes being paid to be gawked at by mouth-breathing nerd bros. Who would actually willingly want to dress like that? I mean, seriously. I wouldn't be so quick to judge. Some women like dressing to show their skin. It should be their choice, though. They do, but how can such a choice be made independent of a patriarchal society that values women first and foremost for their looks? It's human nature to want to please people in your community, so it's only natural that some women like to dress solely to please people.
Wow, that's really, really patronizing. What makes you so high and mighty think you're above pleasing people anyway? I tried to head over to your table, but it was super packed. Have you been selling a lot of artwork?
Not a super huge amount, actually. Most of the traffic's been for the other artists at the table. I guess it doesn't really help that I haven't made my comic into a book yet. That seems to be the thing that gets most people buying stuff. And I don't have any t-shirts or other merch either.
No, I've always thought it would be a great idea if you made t-shirts of the bacteria kittens. I definitely wear them.
I'm not entirely sure how that particular strip got so popular. It was a one-off thing I drew one day when I was out of ideas.
Well, you know, kittens are always a sure thing for success where internet memes are concerned. Well, I guess I'd better get going.
Bye. The cats know.
Shit just got real.
No, but
Do you set them?
they're kind of like scripted into the thing.
Oh.
So, who wants to be a puppet? This time. All right, come on over. You, come on. And who wants to drive? You can come up and drive, and you. Excellent. This should be fun. All right.
I'm putting this on. Maybe it should be the other one.
You can
no,
just,
okay,
you're fine.
Yeah.
Okay, do you have, are those
which
the right
one
one?
is,
Okay. Uh-oh, did one get turned off? Let me see if this is the, okay, let me see.
Yes.
Do-do.
Okay, just checking on your battery. Oh, I turned them off.
Okay, I think this is supposed to be yours.
So here you go. You want to put that on?
This one is yours.
Cool.
Okay, so,
Your left lapel.
okay, left lapel.
There you go.
Around Christmas, it was really funny to like see all my friends
Yeah.
Testing, testing.
No, it's not on yet, but let me just get in there and spin it around.
Okay.
Here you go. This one's yours.
Okay, that
Yeah.
should be good.
And you'll just read off of this.
Testing, 1, 1, 2.
Oh, it's not on yet. I'll turn it on.
Yeah.
Yeah. Phones are like babies, we have discovered. In 30 seconds. Yeah.
Testing. 1, 2. Okay. All right, we're good. Or at least I'm good.
Okay, so should we just do, just one more then? Or, all right, let's do one more. Okay, we ready?
Excuse me, are you Artemis Fiddler of Bacteria Stories?
Yeah, that's me.
I'm Zev Bugs. I'm a huge fan of your webcomics. It's been on my newsfeed since 2011.
In that case, I apologize in advance for not updating it as often since then. As you can imagine, life got in the way.
So, is it okay if I sit here?
I guess. Sure, go ahead.
So, I had this dream last night. I was here at Awesome Con only for some reason. It actually looked more like a cross between my old high school and this casino I went to a couple of years ago. And the architecture was kind of hexagonal shaped.
I guess that's kind of an apt comparison. One can be made. AwesomeCon is one part high school and one part a giant casino.
Very true. Anyway, I'm trying to find the registration desk, which everyone tells me is one the other side of a giant maze. So I go into this maze and there are these human-sized cats repeating over and over again, "The monkey room is upstairs, the monkey room is upstairs." I keep wandering around and somehow I wound up next to this fountain and I realize I'm not wearing any pants. And then my mom walks up to me, hands me a laundry basket full of styrofoam packing peanuts and says, "Take this, it will help you on your quest."
Is this story actually going anywhere?
Yeah, I'm getting to that part. So all of a sudden, I'm in a car, driving, I can't see anything ahead of me. It's all a blur of bright lights. Meanwhile, Sparrow and Robin, my friends I travel here with, are in the backseat with a guitar, singing Stuck in the Middle with You in perfect harmony. Actually, now that I think about it, there was also a giant dog monster in the car too, singing along, and no one found this out of the ordinary.
Doesn't sound like we were paying attention to the road there.
It was a dream. I ultimately wasn't going anywhere, and anyway, it didn't really take much effort to look. It's like in my dreams. I have the ability for primary division or something, so I don't have to turn my head around ever. And then, for some reason, the tongue monster and I wind up alone, and it starts kissing me, like, everywhere, and then I wake up.
What do you think your dream means? Sounds to me it's covered in delicious layers of symbolism.
Well, I think it represents my excitement over going to Awesome Con, and that excitement sometimes turns into anxiety. Like, it's so big, what if I get lost and make a complete mess of myself? Of course, that's not going to happen, but, you know, still. Some parts of me wonders about that stuff, particularly when I'm in big social situations.
I have to pee. Testing? Okay. Sorry about that. What were we talking about again?
Look, this may sound really weird, but I'm struck in some kind of Groundhog Day time loop right now. I keep repeating this conversation I'm having with you over and over again, and I don't know how to stop it.
What? You're shitting me.
I come here, introduce myself, sit down, and we talk. Sometimes we get along really well, sometimes we wind up hating each other. Most of the time, though, it's just awkward. I don't know why.
So what then? Are you supposed to spend years finding the optimal path to get me to fall in mad, passionate love with you? Is that how it works? Because if so, good luck. You won't charm the pants off of me by doing all the standard stuff like helping the elderly and learning to play the piano obscenely well or whatever. What was that happening in the movie? It's been a really long time since I've seen it.
Do I get points for sheer audacity at least?
Points? This isn't a game. No one is keeping score. Look, if you're really desperate for tips on how to impress a lady, just talk to her and see if you have anything in common, okay? And if at least one of you isn't feeling it, go find someone else who is. And if this is some kind of prank people pull at fan conventions, kindly fuck off and take it somewhere else, all right?
And I guess that's my cue to exit, right?
Pretty much, yeah.
I'm so ashamed.
All right.
I accidentally pressed tell her about the dream, and then after that it just started.
Just well done. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
I didn't know I could act that good.
Yeah, well done. Okay, so anything else? Oh, we have it for as long as we want.
We're just gonna keep the stream running.
We're just going to keep it running. Yeah.
Did you, what did you change about the second one and the third one? You said you added some options.
Yeah, I mean, like, so after, like, every few performances, I add more options. And, like, so when I start out, I stick with things that people are more likely to say to each other if they're, like, strangers meeting in a coffee shop. And then, like, I add kind of more personal things after, and then after that, I'll add, like, kind of more just, like, weird meta-textual stuff like we just saw here. Yeah. So do we want to do another one?
Well, the iPod Touch that I had was almost out of batteries.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I don't know.
Almost out of battery power. You get the idea.
Yeah. It'll be fine for a bit more. Yeah. Yeah. You can go again. Yeah, sure. Okay, you can come up. And you too?
It's fun.
And anyone want to drive? Here, you can drive, and yeah, you can drive.
Oh no.
Yeah, that's you.
You're gonna make me a jerk.
Okay, I'm just trying to see which one is which one. All right, this one is yours, and this one's yours over here. Are you? Oh yeah, this one over here is yours. Yeah, so sit down.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's intended. Mm-hmm. All right, are we ready? Okay. Okay, are we ready?
Excuse me, are you Artemis Fiddler of Bacteria Stories? I'm Seth Box. I hope this isn't too awkward, but I follow you on Twitter. I'm at Sephomatic on there.
Oh right. Oh yeah, it's hard to keep track of who's on Twitter. I mean, there's so many people on it and all.
Your levels should probably go up, or your mic should probably.
So pull a little bit up.
Like that.
I think it's the sound, yeah.
Is it off?
Make it weird. Make it weird.
So weird. Yeah. Okay. It's fine.
Okay, my turn. I understand. I mean, someone as popular as you probably has a lot of followers, huh?
Huh. Popular. That's hilarious.
Yeah. So, is it okay if I sit here?
I guess, sure, go ahead.
So this is kind of embarrassing to admit, but I've had a crush on you for like forever. Forever, seriously, yeah. I don't expect you to reciprocate, but I just wanted to let you know what an awesome person you are.
Thanks. It's very kind of you.
I mean, don't take it as me trying to hit on you or anything. I know women get hit on a lot at cons, and I really, 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 really don't want to be that person. No.
I appreciate it, I think. Sorry, I gotta go. Oh, I promised to meet up with some folks. I'd meet up with them, so yeah.
Oh, okay, bye.
That ended really fast.
I was not charming enough.
Yeah.
I was not charming.
Some of them do go by really fast. All right. Can you put that one back on that seat just so I remember who was using which one? All right. Yeah, question.
So how much control, is there any like procedural generation in the responses, or do you have complete control of what options you're giving to two different drivers? Or is it like
It's kind of scripted, but it's like partly scripted and partly controlled by me. Yeah. Yeah.
Do you one day aspire to actually have like actual professional actors perform the roles of the puppets?
Well, I don't know. I mean, like, I pretty much like wrote this for like inexperienced actors to play, but I mean, like, people with like kind of more acting experience and improv experience have played this before, and it's made for some kind of like hilarious off the rails kinds of things going on, and it's like, oh, okay, it's a bit of a chaos module. It's like, so in a sense, like allowing like people to have control and like go off script and do things is, I mean, like something you kind of like have to roll with as an author just for fun and just see what happens. Yeah.
Do the musicians at times get to play things that seem out of the what should be being played? Say,
Yeah.
if it's really awkward, a really happy song, for example?
Something dissonant from the mood. Well, again, it's up to interpretation. Like the way I've written a lot of things, I kind of make it congruent with the general mood that's going on. But of course, like, people are free to improvise if they want to.
Sometimes you don't understand what Zephyr's means.
Yeah. You just play something, yeah. Okay, there?
So the decisions that the puppet masters are making affect the music, or is that something you're controlling?
Yeah, the decisions they make affect the music. Yeah.
This is a more open-ended question. What is one point that you would make about this piece and about it as part of your dissertation
Yeah.
that you haven't been asked so far? That
That
you're going to be talking about when you're giving your talk or practice?
That I haven't been asked so far. Yeah.
Like either about the
Yeah.
actors or puppet masters?
Yeah. No one's actually out and out asked me about about why I don't specifically like, because so both of the characters are particular characters. They have particular characteristics, like and particular gender identities. And nobody's actually asked me why I allow anybody to play these characters instead of specifically like looking for actors and typecasting them like properly like you would, and instead make them wear these wigs. Nobody asks me really why I like sometimes like ask a straight cis white man to pretend that they are a queer woman of color. And that it, I mean, like kind of in general, when I've done this show at, I guess, more queer focused events like GamerX and the Queerness in Games conference, I've kind of seen more people like intuitively get it or come up and tell me that that's really cool. But yeah, like my reasoning for doing that is that it's like, so not fixing these positions is a form of queering theater. So, and I guess like it kind of also like ties in a little bit to some people have have like talked about twine games as empathy simulators. I mean, that's a kind of a like contentious term, and not everybody like says that's true of their work, but like through play, you can put people in the shoes of another person's experience, and by temporarily allowing people to do that, like it's a big part of what I'm really interested in. And I actually hope at one point to be able to send out some questionnaires to people who have like experienced coffee and see what their reactions are to like playing as someone else. Yeah.
I'm curious about your thoughts about designing the experience of the puppet master. I found it like intense and varied.
Yeah.
I was felt a rush of power and joy of being able to manipulate somebody
Yeah.
and behaving the way that I wanted, and then I felt actually like ashamed and embarrassed when the interaction went south.
Yeah.
And just like how do people respond to being covered in that sort of thing?
Yeah. So the driver role, so that was kind of like an experiment I wanted to make in like we talk a lot as game designers about the relationship the player has to their avatar or the player character. And having both of them be humans is a really interesting thing for me. Like, so having one person like be the person, like, so it's kind of like the drivers are like the player and the puppets are the avatar in a sense. But everybody is also a player, which is why I don't necessarily use the word player. So so it's this. So it's interesting that you think of it in terms of like controlling another person to do stuff instead rather than identification, and I think identification might happen more when you are doing embodiment, but you are also like not making decisions. You are doing what the screen tells you to do. So like, I don't know, fascinating behaviors come out. Sometimes it can be like a bit like competitive and manipulative, and sometimes it can be more cooperative. Like especially like if people who know each other play the game, then I notice like kind of a lot more cooperative behaviors and people trying to get good endings and that sort of thing. Yes, you.
Why is it that you're trying to keep control on your computer? Or like, why didn't you decide to design the game in a way
That it's all randomized?
I guess, yeah.
I don't know, to curate the experience. There could conceivably be a much more randomized version, but a lot of what I'm controlling is just like just telling it when to do new lines. I mean, you could like automate that somehow by say connecting microphones to the system. But I don't know. I'm doing it in a slightly more low tech way because like kind of Wizard of Ozing it a bit more. Okay, who's had their hand up longer? Okay.
I have a question.
Yeah.
About delay.
Yeah.
Delay in conversation.
Uh-huh.
When you think about that in this experience, what are some observations that have come to mind?
Yeah.
Because you've got 4 people having one conversation.
Yeah.
And actually 5 people having one conversation if you include yourself.
Yeah.
So I was wondering if you could talk about that.
Yeah. It definitely like feels less organic than it would if people were having a regular conversation. And yeah, the delay is very much, it's very much reminiscent of delays in conversation that happen in video games in general, because like they play one sound file first and then the other one and the other one. And so like conversation in games already sounds a little bit unnatural. And by bringing that into a more physical space, I was fascinated by how that would play out and how that would come across like to people in the audience, like as a theater performance. So yes, deliberately awkward for sure.
mean, it makes like the conversation a little lighter because
Uh-huh.
we know that like we're waiting for screens to load, so
Yeah.
it's like not that awkward.
Yeah.
But, like you also understand that like this is, people have awkward pauses, so it's like
Yeah.
kind of makes everything a little bit more comedic.
Yeah. 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 So like, yeah, for people just walking by and watching and not knowing, it's like, yeah, this isn't what theater normally looks like. You back there. No, you.
Yeah, so just a follow-up question, a little on Francis also. You said you think the relationship between the driver and the puppet is more one of identification, and then you also mentioned earlier that you have sort of a driver relationship to the driver, right? So have you had experiences where you yourself have had sort of a strong emotional response or involvement in what was going on as a result of that, being part of the game?
Yeah.
What's that
Yeah.
experience like?
I've been like frustrated that, like sometimes frustrated about people not taking conversation options that I was maybe trying to lead them to take. But that's also like, okay, there you go. You have agency. You're allowed to do that. And I mean, like glitches have happened in the system, whether through human error or through like just a glitch in the code that I've written, and then like complete non sequitur things happened, and it's like, okay, well this is annoying, but it's actually kind of funny. And with a lot of this, like I try to like just roll with whatever happens, and it's kind of cool that way. One of a particularly like emotionally positive experience I had was when I had a couple of friends who were like I really want to get the romance ending. Is there an ending where they make out? And then I was like okay, I'll see what I can do. So I tried to make the right options available, and then they kind of like worked together to like get them to like spill lovey, mushy feelings to each other, and they didn't actually make out on stage because I don't want to ask people to make out on stage. But then like once they walked out of the room together, I was like, and then they made out, and all was well. Yeah.
So, I kind of have a quick question. One, we didn't see two of the same like dialogue choices play out, correct? Like you changed it every single time, so the dialogue choices were different slightly.
Slightly. There was like one it was kind of more adding more. The other ones, the ones from before, were still available if you wanted to try them. I don't really remove them.
Does it like, because there was a lot of like humorous moments, and then just kind of like really quickly it would drop to like something more like serious, and
Yeah.
you kind of as an audience it was kind of like, whoa.
Whoa.
I was laughing a second ago and now I'm kind of in this like.
Yeah. So like pacing definitely isn't as smooth as it would be, but again, kind of by design, on purpose. I like seeing that happen. It's like you're just laughing for it, and it's like, okay, now it's something. Oh, okay. So I like how that plays out. So you and you and you and you.
Could you talk a little bit more about your process from the point of view of what your breakfast is, maybe in a summarized way, evolved to what it is right now?
How it evolved to what it is. I originally wrote this as more of a single-player story with more AI stuff in it. I don't know if you know the Versu engine. That was done by Linden Lab, but then they axed it. I wrote the first version using that, like kind of more as a single player story, but one where you could play as either of the characters. And then like I kind of had the idea of turning it into a play, so I got people to read the Versu version aloud because it was kind of written like a script. So I was kind of wondering what it would be like if people acted it out. And then after that happened, I was kind of thinking like, well, there are ways that I can redesign the system a little bit so it can be like, so it could facilitate a performance a lot better. So I created the system with mobile devices, which I call the Performotron. And like part of my motivation to do this was because Versu wasn't being supported anymore. So I decided to be like, all right, why don't I do like kind of less using this AI library and do kind of more with allowing humans to have some of the control. So turn it into a multiplayer game instead of a single player game. Okay, who is next? Okay, you can go. You found your hand
So the
up.
way you've written the characters, are the characters consistent across all possible conversations?
Not necessarily. Like sometimes they'll choose a different pronoun. They're more or less consistent, but it's like different possibilities of where they can end up. And I guess you could say kind of like they can be more closeted versions of themselves, or more open, or more open and out versions of themselves. So that's kind of how that, I see them as still the same characters, but like, I don't know, in some ways they are less themselves than others, and that's so playing more into the queer themes. Yeah.
One of the earlier ones, there was text that came up about the baristas having a conversation.
Yeah.
Was that something that you injected into it?
Yeah, so one thing I do when it's like when nothing's happening for a little while is I have a button that can trigger background events. So it seemed like there was like kind of a bit of a lull, and nobody was really doing anything. So it's like, all right, I'll trigger a background event. I find that I do that a lot less than I expected I was going to, because drivers are really quick to respond. I've actually been thinking of having something like for drivers to be able to just say wait and see what happens, or something, like or more of a timer or something. Yeah.
So why is there competition between the drivers on who takes the choice first?
Where's there a competition?
It seems like because it seems like if you don't take your choice
Yeah.
in times, the other drivers, I guess,
Yeah.
charge.
Well, it also depends. Like there are times when the other driver doesn't have choices and it's up to you. Yeah, so the reason for that is like, I don't know, you say something like, it's about who says something first and who dominates the conversation. Sometimes people dominate the conversation, and it's, yeah, but yeah, why is it a competition? Because I thought it might be interesting, but it doesn't always have to be a competition. You can choose to cooperate if you want.
What I meant is, I was very shortly playing as a driver, and I wanted to be, there was a really awkward, beautiful moment that I wanted to linger on, and then I thought it would be nice to just wait it out for a bit,
Yeah.
and then my choice was taken away, and I was like, I wish I had like 5 more seconds to like just keep that conversation.
Yeah.
Last sentence hanging. Like, and I think part of it is that I couldn't read fast enough, so the other driver probably took the choice faster. So
Yeah. I don't know. Sometimes conversations are like that. Like you can't always have complete control. Sometimes it's on the other person. I mean, like, I don't know. Like, I don't know what to say. I'm sorry. I'm sorry I'm not giving you enough control, but it's very much by design, so I'm not really sorry. Okay, so there's some questions over there.
So you're projecting up what's on the driver's screen.
Yeah.
Have you tried adding what fans sees as well to the projection, so they know what their cues are or considered?
No, but I don't know. I mean, I could, but I probably won't. But the code is open source. I don't know. That's like that's a lot of what I say about like things that could theoretically be done, but I'm too lazy to do, or like I feel is beyond the scope of what I'm trying to explore personally in this piece. But yay open source code. Yeah.
Have you tried playing without the screen? And
Yeah.
on top of that, why have the screen versus why not?
Why not? I like the screen kind of like to give what the screen is fun for is to give the audience kind of like a sense of participation and a bit of a rapport with the drivers. Like, so there have been instances where like the driver's like, it's like, okay, what should I do? And then they can see what to do. Or like if the audience sees an option they would like to see happen, they can like kind of like yell or heckle for people to do it. But when I've done it without the screen, it's been kind of, I don't know, it's been kind of like more of a you know less what's going on kind of performance, and sometimes that's more fun. Like one thing I would like to do in the future is stage this in like a coffee shop. And so like kind of people will like pass by and not know what's going on at all and just not do the audience setting, but get like just plant people with their mobile devices to just act stuff out. And yeah, I thought it would be an interesting variant. Yeah.
I was just wondering what inspired you to also have the music at a moment's notice versus having, I guess, like stock music for moments.
Yeah. So what inspired me to get live musicians, or
Yeah, and then have it so that we're making decisions.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a lot of fun.
Uh-huh.
I just wondered.
Yeah. Well, basically, what I was actually thinking of having like composing music to play at various moments, but like I wasn't entirely sure how to do it, and like a professional in the music department who I was like taking a seminar with one quarter was like, well, why don't you just have humans play the music? I mean, you have humans performing all of the all the rest of the roles, and so. And I have like a bunch of musician friends who are like who are willing to improvise to strange, unspecific cues, and but I mean like I was actually pretty surprised by how musical this turned out. Usually it's a bit more atonal usually. So yeah, I've actually like did a couple of like iterations of things like. In the past, the music cues used to go by a lot faster and change more frequently, but the feedback I got from other musicians was that it didn't give them enough time to react, so I kind of made them a bit longer. So I hope that felt okay.
Yeah,
great, thanks. Yeah.
The code that you have, I noticed that you have an interesting. What's the 1, 2, 3, 4? There's a fourth pronoun there. Did you invent that yourself, or?
Okay, so he, she, they, and z. Like, I didn't invent that. It's used by people on the internet a lot. I know, like, I have at least one friend who prefers it.
Yeah.
But.
Can I interpolate as a linguist to explain the phenomenon?
Yeah.
Well, you see, the problem with English is that even though it has a neuter pronoun, the neuter pronoun is not animate, but like he and she are. So for gender neutral people, they have to create their own neuter animate pronoun.
Mm-hmm.
Did I explain
Yeah.
it well?
Yeah, so my preferred pronoun is singular they, which I favor because it has kind of more of a grammatical history, and people use it anyway when they're being unspecific. But some people don't like it as much because it conjugates in a plural way. I don't mind this personally because because like you also conjugates in a plural way, and it used to be there used to be like a distinguished yeah. I mean, well, you was the second person plural, and thou was the singular, but then they phased out thou, and so it's like with that. So yeah, I think I feel like they is perfectly fine, but some people prefer a pronoun like Z, or there are many other variants of pronouns that people use. And they prefer that because then they can conjugate it in a more singular way, and that it also doesn't sound like you're being deliberately vague. So it's all about personal preference, and I mean, I wanted to have
And also, it's not as dehumanizing as it, which implies that the person is doesn't have a soul. Like it says it doesn't if I refer to a person as it, I'm implying that it has as much of the soul as this chair here.
Yeah. Some people actually choose it for themselves, but generally calling somebody it if they are if they haven't told you that that's what they prefer to be called does tend to be dehumanizing and pejorative, and yeah, you shouldn't do it unless somebody actually tells you that they prefer it. Yeah.
Just going back to crowd participation for a second.
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever tried to do it crowd driving, like switchblade coffee?
Kind of, yeah. I've had instances where that's happened, and when one of the driver screens wasn't working, I tried to get everyone to vote. But if I did that all the time, unless I had some kind of system for everybody to lock in their votes, it would go by very, very slowly. So, which is why I decided to have the drivers, but but the audience can also participate in a way, and I should have made that more clear in previous performances that I encourage.
Part of aesthetic design choice, I have the drivers do single people and part of
Yeah.
And I'm coming with technical constraints.
A little bit of both, kind of like that, and I also wanted to see what it would be like, or how it would work. But yeah, crowd driving would be interesting. It would kind of feel a bit of a different game, but would be interesting for sure.
I think we'll conclude the official part of this now. Point.
All right.
Thank you very much for showing this.
Thank you. Thank you. To continue playing.
If anyone would still like to play.
Uh-huh.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Well, it seems like people are dispersing.
How did I explain
It was fine.
everything?
It was fine. It was
Yeah,
fine.
I mean,
yeah.
I'm sorry that I was
No problem.
speaking on your behalf. when
It's
I shouldn't
fine.
have.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, maybe I should. Are people still going to play, or are we dispersing? I think we're dispersing. Yeah.